Hello, my name is Rob Lott and I work on the End Captivity campaign here at Whale and Dolphin Conservation. I look after our tour operator campaign, where we work with the travel industry and encourage them to take a more responsible attitude to the serious welfare issues that whales and dolphins suffer whilst in captivity. So WDC, along with some of its coalition partners, were recently invited along to the virtual World Travel Market event, and we were posed with the question that in the aftermath of the pandemic, how can the travel industry build back better and bring about more meaningful change for wild animals in tourism, in this case, captive whales and dolphins. So, by way of background, there are approximately 3,500 captive whales and dolphins in the world today for public display and interaction with tourists. We reckon they're in 58 countries with over 300 facilities. Every stage of the process of exhibiting these creatures, from capture and transport to a lifelong existence in captivity, inflicts severe stress on whales and dolphins. They must endure the artificial, restricted and barren nature of the captive environment, which is extremely impoverished in relation to the complex environments that they inhabit in the wild. Even the largest captive facility provides just 1/1,000,000th of a whale or dolphin's natural habitat range. Scientific evidence strongly supports our concerns that whales and dolphins suffer mentally and physically, and that confinement has a significant negative impact on their health, welfare, and even the risk of early death. Stress-related conditions such as ulcers, stereotypical behaviors including self-mutilation, and abnormal aggression are commonly observed in captive whales and dolphins. Many tricks performed in captive performances are unnatural and unrepresentative of their natural behavior, and you would never see them in the wild. Interactions in captivity are potentially harmful both to the whale or the dolphin and the human participant. The direct interaction with whales and dolphins has resulted in serious injury to participants and in some cases, death. But let's look at this one example. The captive orca you can see in the top left-hand corner. She's a female orca called Corky, and she was born in the wild and taken from the wild when she was very young, and she's been held in captivity for the last 50 years. During that time, she's had 7 pregnancies, and the longest any of her calves have survived is just 47 days. Corky is the exception, though. The majority of captive orcas die before their early 20s. Many die still in their teens. To the right, this is her brother Fife, who swims wild and free in the waters off the west coast of Canada and British Columbia. And below left is Fife with Corky's family, whom she has never met. And this energetic female, bottom right, is known as Granny, and she was thought to be well over 100 years old when she passed away in the wild in 2016. So following public campaigns run by WDC to raise awareness of the impact of captivity on whales and dolphins, a number of major tour operators have made changes to the animal welfare policies. And in 2019, Virgin announced it would no longer sell trips to facilities that kept whales and dolphins captive. In August 2019, British Airways stopped selling tickets to all facilities where captive wild animals are central to the attraction, and this was quickly followed in October last year by TripAdvisor, who announced that they would cease working with facilities that continue to breed or import whales and dolphins. And both these announcements included that entertainment giant SeaWorld. So through our campaign and policy work, WDC has closely scrutinized the Travel Association ABTA's review of its animal welfare guidelines, as ABTA endeavors to offer appropriate advice to its members with regard to welfare concerns at these facilities. The outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic and the resultant social and economic chaos has shone a harsh spotlight on our relationship with wild creatures. For the global tourism industry to now rebuild a more resilient and a more responsible sector, wildlife exploitation for entertainment must be phased out. Captive whales and dolphins should never again be held at the mercy of the human economy. And we invite the travel industry to share our vision of a world where whales and dolphins are no longer held for our entertainment and are only viewed responsibly and respectfully in the wild or in genuine sanctuaries in the sea. And public opinion is changing. It's been 27 years since the UK closed its doors on its last dolphinarium, And I'm proud to say that there's neither the political will nor the public desire for this industry to come back to the UK anytime soon. Tourists want to see wild animals like whales and dolphins, but are increasingly aware of the cruel reality of captivity. Consumer research shows that 80% of actual and potential dolphin venue visitors would prefer to see dolphins in the wild if they had the chance. And the acceptability of swimming with dolphins in captivity, specifically as an activity, has been dropping significantly in recent years. So our coalition is committed to helping leaders within the travel industry to provide meaningful, responsible, and ethical customer experiences. We want to encourage and advocate for travel companies to evolve their corporate social responsibility policies, specifically to end the promotion and sales of activities that feature whales and dolphins in captivity, and to focus on responsible, respectful excursions in the wild. We want to ensure that only responsible products or experiences are offered in relation to wild and free-living whales and dolphins, and in particular provide responsible whale and dolphin watching experiences. So for captivity, we are now calling for a phase out, an end to breeding, an end to trade and wild captures, and help to facilitate the retirement of captive whales and dolphins to sanctuary sites in the sea, where individuals can live the rest of their lives in a more natural environment, or where possible, some candidates could be assessed for a return to the wild. So why sanctuaries? Well, they offer a natural habitat which encourages natural behavior. They will be cetacean rather than human-led, so the whales or the dolphins will have more choice and they can make more decisions as to how they spend their days. There'll be significant improvements in their physical health and their mental well-being. And importantly, they will be retired from shows and interaction programs. And as I mentioned, where possible, rehabilitation for release back into natural waters. Where sanctuary sites allow visitors, they will be allowed to observe, but only from a discrete distance. But more importantly, visitor revenue will help support sanctuary projects and wider conservation work. And scientists will be able to carry out unobtrusive studies to improve our understanding of these highly intelligent and social creatures. But the sanctuary idea for ex-captive whales and dolphins isn't just a future goal. A cetacean sanctuary is now a reality. In 2019, the Sea Life Trust, in partnership with Whale and Dolphin Conservation, opened the world's first beluga whale sanctuary for ex-captive belugas. And the first two residents are Little Grey and Little White. And they were captured from the wild in Russia when they were very young, and they've spent all their adult lives in an aquarium in Shanghai prior to their move to the sanctuary. And this project would not have been possible without the support of many, many people and companies, including Cargo Lux, who provided their aircraft and cargo expertise free of charge. So Little White and Little Grey last year were flown the 6,000-mile journey to their new home in Iceland, and after several months of quarantine and the necessary rehabilitation and acclimatization, they were released into the open water sanctuary site in a sheltered bay earlier this year. This site is 30 times bigger than the tank that they left behind in Shanghai at 32,000 square meters. And we hope to bring more belugas to the sanctuary in Iceland, and many more sanctuaries are needed for different species in appropriate geographical locations. So to conclude, let's make this generation of whales and dolphins in captivity the very last. As we all vow to build back better after the pandemic, the travel industry is in a unique position to play an important role in influencing facilities holding whales and dolphins captive to phase out this outdated and this cruel practice, and to develop alternative environments like ocean sanctuaries, which will have significant welfare benefits for these highly intelligent and socially complex creatures.